Hello everybody, and a happy new year to all of you. I hope you had a great holiday season, whatever holidays you may observe. I hope you had a great time, and I hope not too many of you are suffering a hangover from your New Year's revelries. I've managed to pull myself away from Cyberpunk 2077 just long enough so that I can record a new video. I've been somewhat addicted to that game for the past several days. But anyway, that's beside the point. We're going to start off the year with a nice, happy piece of music from a doom metal band. Now, this is a band called Clouds. I've never heard of them before. They popped up in my YouTube suggested video feed several weeks ago. And I purely checked them out just because of the artwork that accompanied the video. I had no idea what they were. My suspicion was it was going to be some sort of instrumental music, and I love instrumental music. But anyway, so I checked it out, and they turned out to be a doom metal band, a very, very good one. And I really, really enjoyed the track. I think the track I looked at was called Errata, I think. And I very much enjoyed it, and I thought, I'd like to check out some more of their stuff. But I thought I'll leave it until I get back to doing more videos for the channel. So, having only heard one song of theirs, I have a vague idea what they sound like, but not an all-encompassing sound, because I think the track I listened to was quite an old track of, an early piece of work. The track we're going to look at today is a track called Images and Memories, which is off their most recent album. Now, as I do with most bands, I try and find some information about them. I try and do a bit of research, but there was shockingly little about this band. And the only information I could find comes from Encyclopedia Metalhead. And as I've said on several occasions before, the information I get from there is quite often wrong. Sometimes, it's spot on, but more often than not, it's wrong. And it's the only place I can find any information at all. And all I managed to find is Clouds are an atmospheric doom/death metal band with members from the UK and Romania, formed in 2013. And that's all I could find. Lyrical themes are sadness, anguish, loss, despair, and mourning, so pretty typical for doom metal. As we all know, I am a big fan of doom metal. Now, they have released 5 full-length studio albums, 4 singles, 1 EP, and 1 compilation album. So how they've never come up in my suggested feed before, I don't know, given my frequency of listening to this style of music. How they've never popped up before, I really don't know. But, they've popped up, I heard a track, I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to check out some more. So like I said, we're going to be looking at a track called Images and Memories. I do have some lyrics up here. Again, these lyrics come from Encyclopedia Metalhead, so I'm not sure how accurate they're going to be. I can actually see spelling mistakes in it already, and that's just from a cursory glance at it. So, the track we're looking at, like I said, is called Images and Memories. It's actually the shortest track I could find, and even then, it's still close to 7 minutes long. Most of their tracks run in excess of 10 minutes more or more. So, I tried to find the shorter track just to... Yeah. So, anyway, we'll jump into it and see what we get. So, we've got Images and Memories by Clouds. Let's have a look. And there we go. Images and Memories by Clouds, and that was just a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. It started off with that beautiful, haunting piano right at the beginning, which slowly sort of built up. There was this. It sounded like there was a roll done on a snare drum, but it was done in such a way it almost sounded like there was a harsh wind blowing, but very subtle. But it was beautiful. Then there was this sort of chorus of voices that was slowly raised, slowly built into this thing, and it was a beautiful, beautiful piece of the moment. I mean, there were heavier elements to it. They brought in like the electric guitars and stuff like that, but they weren't like overpowering or intrusive. It worked really well with the softness and the beauty of this piece of music. Now, what I will say is the first track that I listened to, like I said, I think it was called Errata, whatever, was a much, much heavier track than this. Much, much heavier. But like I said, it's also a much older track, I do believe. And this is only the second track I've heard of theirs, so I don't know how their music sounds in an overall capacity, but I absolutely love this. I mean, towards the end of the track there, you had those harsher vocals, which were like throughout the entirety of the first track that I heard, and they were much more pronounced and much more forceful in the first track I heard. But again, in this track, they've used them perfectly. They're not overpowering, they're not intrusive. They don't suddenly come barreling in, and they're not jarring in the transition when they come in. It is beautifully done, and that is just an astounding piece of music. I absolutely love that, and like I said, that's the shortest track of theirs that I could find. So I'm going to have to go and actually buy some of their albums to listen to more of this stuff, because this is just, if it's as good as this track and the first track that I heard, I really need to hear some more. Absolutely beautiful. Now, the meaning of the song, I'm sure there is something behind it. It's possibly, I don't know. Could be talking about the death of the world. He could be talking about just death in general. I'm not entirely certain. But the lyrics go, and they do actually seem to be fairly correct. They go, "We're the only ones who see, the only ones. Withered skies and empty hearts, a lifetime in a dream. A life I once had, withered away, faded out once with time. So I empty all my thoughts, carrying images and memories I've lost so long ago, never to return. At last we lost the sky, we lost the will to live. We crossed the stream and drowned ourselves in our dreams. The gates are folding in reverse. We will know it all the same again. We will fall always. We close our eyes and drift away, no matter how or where or when. We are the same clouds in the sky." So, those are some beautifully written lyrics. And like I said, a beautifully performed piece of music. I really love it. I think it is amazing. And like I said, I'm finding difficulty like pulling any specific meaning out of that track. It might be one of those ones that's open to interpretation to whoever listens to it. I don't know. But there is definite melancholy and sadness in those words, and with lines like "At last we lost the sky, we lost the will to live," it suggests to me, like the destruction of the world. Or "At last we lost the sky," that could just mean, like once you've died, you've been buried underground. I don't know. There's so many things in there that I can't quite piece together exactly the meaning behind it. But images and memories, it's like looking back on what you once had, something you've now lost, and you're struggling to live without it. Now that's what it seems like, whether it is the world, how the world used to be, or whether it is a partner, a loved one, or a friend that you've lost, and all you have left of them is images and memories, and you're looking back at them and sort of the overwhelming feelings of sadness you get remembering those times. So, beautiful song, beautifully performed. Kind of reminded me a little bit of alternative 4 era Anathema with maybe a bit of Swallowed the Sun thrown in there. Really, absolutely loved it. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to have to get some more of this stuff and give it a listen, because of the 2 tracks I've listened to, they have both been astonishingly brilliant. So, yeah. But I'm not sure what else I can say on that, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would of course be a great help to me, since all of my material, all of my content gets demonetized. I make absolutely nothing from the channel. I don't set out to make anything from it, really, but all of anything that's generated from these videos goes straight to the band. All of it. Even though their music plays a small part in the actual video, they get all the money from it. But anyway, that's beside the point. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that, and that's just to be fair to people who suggest comments, suggest tracks through like Facebook comments, YouTube, or Instagram messages, etc. And if you do suggest a track through those means, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list of tracks grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it'll get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, I'm afraid. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the main focuses in there is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture, which is something I believe in very, very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, something that does not get nearly the attention it needs. Every single day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear these every single day. From the most heinous and violent of these crimes, where someone is brutally murdered because of the colour of their skin, because of their sexual orientation, or because of their religion, or what have you, down to the most petty and pathetic of these crimes, where someone is calling the police on a family of colour because they're having a picnic in a public space. We hear every facet of these, from the worst to the most pathetic, every single day, but we hear nothing about these people from the alternative culture who are getting violently attacked just purely for the fact that they listen to alternative music or wear alternative fashion. And this goes on all the time. It's been going on for decades. It goes on every single day, all around the world, and gets ignored. And that's something that really needs to change. The last time there was any widespread acknowledgement of this was 13 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked and brutally beaten, so severely that they both ended up in comas. A group of 5 or 6 people knocked them to the ground, beat them, kicked them, punched them, and stamped on their heads so violently that they ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a bit longer, but he did survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries, and she died. This young woman was 20 years old, and she was brutally beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. And like I said, this was 13 years ago that this happened, and we've not heard anything since. But I know for a fact there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar attacks around the world, and not a word has been said. 2 years ago, a young woman in Glasgow was running a charity gig at a venue, and at one point during the night she had to go back to her home for whatever reason. It was a 5-minute walk away from the venue. In that time, she was attacked twice, again by a group of people. Again, beaten, kicked, punched, knocked to the ground. Exactly the same sort of thing as happened to Sophie Lancaster. But thankfully, somebody passing by, a taxi driver passing by, put a stop to it. But he didn't even check to see if she was okay. As soon as they buggered off, he was on his way. She didn't get any help until she got back to the venue, to where her friends were. Why wasn't this all over the news? If that taxi driver hadn't passed at that specific time, we very easily could have been dealing with another person being beaten to death. We could have been dealing with another brutal murder just over something as simple as music. And it's only a matter of time before it happens again. And it cannot be allowed to happen again. We cannot allow it to happen again. It's something that never should have happened in the first place. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening, so that we can put a stop to this, because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks because of the pathetic and petty actions of a group of small-minded people who couldn't grasp the simple fact that not everybody likes the same stuff. Not everybody has to fit in. Not everybody has to be a mindless sheep and conform to societal norms. Everybody has the right to be an individual. And nobody has a right to tell you who you can be, what music you should listen to, and how you should dress. But anyway, if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their main goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, you know, a small donation through their website, or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, or maybe even one of these, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff in there, or web store, you know. The smallest amount can make the biggest difference, and the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we bring more recognition to the fact of how big of an issue this really actually is, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.